here at Century 21 Affiliated. And so for this Wednesday session of Mission Possible, we're going to continue on your journey from this week, talking a little bit about leads. So this session is going to be twofold. I'm going to talk about lead management as it relates to Moxie, and then we're going to go into kind of a lead management self-assessment towards the second part of the session. So, you know, MoxiWorks is new to all of us. So I just thought, given the audience and that we're all kind of trying to drum up business, it's a little bit of a weird market, I think, for everyone right now, just to kind of show you the different ways you can get leads in Moxie, as well as how you can manage them. And then we'll go into just like a little bit more of a tool self-assessment that I'll share with you guys that we can talk about in terms of leads in your business. But before we get started, just a couple of housekeeping rules. Can everyone hear me okay? Okay. And then everyone sees my screen, the life of a lead MoxiWorks. Perfect. And then if everyone can just stay muted, I would say I will stop a couple times and ask for questions. You're welcome to unmute yourself and we'll have some good conversations today. But just for the lack to, you know, eliminate background noise, just stay muted until we're at those points. And then also Isaiah is going to be managing the chat. So if you guys have questions, he'll stop me and we'll go over that stuff. So just to kind of talk about life of a lead as it relates to MoxiWorks. So within your MoxiWorks websites, our own Century 21 and Century 21 affiliated websites, which are linked to your agent profile. So we'll talk about that as well. There are a couple of options for an inquiry. So basically, if you're talking about life of a lead, someone makes an inquiry either on your direct website, on your listing, on your agent profile on century21affiliated.com, any of those types of ways, and you get a notification. And I'll actually show you what those look like in just a few minutes here. But so you would have an inquiry, you get notified. Once that notification is made, these two things kind of happen simultaneously. So you want to make contact immediately. We all know the key to converting leads is time. So you want to get in touch with them as soon as possible. So what's nice is you're notified via text and email, provided you have those turned on. So we'll talk about that as well when I get into Moxie on the back end. You're going to make contact, and on the back end system, while you're doing that, the contact's added to Engage. So by default, any contact that is fed through any company source, through your listing, through your website, like we talked about, through your agent profile, is all going to be there. And then once you know the contact's added to Engage, after you connect with that person, you want to update them in Engage, add them to a drip campaign potentially, categorize them. We'll go over, we talked about drip campaigns last week, but I will go over a little bit of, you know, the various ways you can update and track that lead. And obviously the end goal is to convert that lead, right? So this is just an overview, and I'm going to kind of go in step by step and talk about like what the inquiry looks like from the consumer standpoint, what the notification looks like, and go through each of those. And then we'll take a little bit deeper dive into kind of just some ways you can utilize Moxie for your tracking your conversion, and then that self-assessment I talked about. So I'm going to get out of here for a second. And I'm going to go here, and you'll see I have an agent, one of our agent in our Wisconsin markets, Mary Schultz. This is her Moxie website. So when we talk about potentially notifying, getting a notification or submitting an inquiry, there's a couple of ways a consumer can do that. One is if you just go to contact us here. It wants to let me click. Here we go. She can go ahead and fill out this form, get started today, enter that, and that's going to go directly to the agent. The other option is, let's say she's browsing Mary's website. Here is a featured property. She clicks, they click here. It's being a little slow today. Let me just try if I do it again, if it wants to pull up. So let's say here, she wants to email a form. She can go out, if you click email, it's going to do the same thing. It's going to pop up and show you that. Go to her website. That's going to bring her back there. You have that contact me button here. So those are some of the options. Another option is, let's say you're searching for a property. Let me just refresh this because it doesn't seem to want to. And I'm going to type in a zip code here. And they're searching for a property. And it doesn't have to be Mary's. So I'm obviously in Michigan. I just put a zip code in that's near my office. So let's say they're interested in this property. They can go ahead and contact Mary. Schedule a showing is going to do the same thing. So these are all various ways that a consumer can contact you through your website, through property search, anything like that. The other way is if I just type in, I'm going to put in Mary Lunn, realtor. Now, obviously, I put in a lot of information there. If I go here, you'll see the Century 21 affiliated agent directory. They can go ahead and send a message right here. So all of that information is going to be there for you. So there is a million different ways really that they can connect with you online. And all of these are fed directly in to Moxie. So let's say Isaiah filled out a form here for me. What does it look like? How do you get notified? So as the consumer, let me just see if I can pull this over. I did this morning myself to test everything. Not that I don't believe it works because I have gotten leads this way, but just so you guys can see. Come on, doesn't want to get to my second screen. Sorry, bear with me just a second.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Mary, it would work similar to how Zap did, right?
Correct.
Like
so it's not all that different. And I will pull up those screenshots. This is not, I wanted to show you. Yeah. So here, do you see this? This is what your consumer gets. So it says, get in touch with Mary Lunn. Thank you for contacting me. So this is done by is what your consumer would see. So a potential client, right? And then I'm going to get out of there. As an agent, you would get, and I took these from my phone, so I'm going to see if I can blow that up a little bit, but this is what it would look like via email. So it's going to be new lead details, the contact's name. I did this myself, obviously, but any comments here would be there. And you'll see right here, this lead is a referral fee of nothing because 0%, because it's your lead, right? Your listing, your lead, anything like that, your inquiry. So it's not just because it's driven from a company site. And I did this right through century21affiliated.com. I actually didn't even go to my Moxie site. So this is what that looks like for via email. And then the other thing that you get is going to be a text message. So this is your text message right here. It gives you the name, the phone number, any other contact info. So had I put in, additional info, and you can click right here, it's going to bring you right to Moxie to that lead. So, and this is within minutes of me doing it. I mean, I would say actually probably closer to 30 seconds. So I submitted it online. I'm getting this text and email in probably between 30 seconds and a minute immediately as the agent. So everything is as real time as we possibly can have it be. And then how do you know, like maybe you don't remember their name, whatever the case may be, what does that look like once you go into Engage? So right here, I'm going to go back to my dashboard. And you'll immediately see right here, Mary L. new today, update from Leads Engine. So right here, it's going to come in my stay and flow. I can reach out to them. I can call, I can email, I can get them set up on neighborhood news. I can set them up on a campaign. Additionally, if I go back to my people, you will know, let me just sort by recently added. So you will see immediately right here, Leads Engine, okay? So this is new Leads Engine. Now right here, do you see Cassandra Vaughn, what's below that? She was a lead directly through my website as well. So she actually was a referral from a client of mine, a past client of mine, but for whatever reason, they didn't have a business card. They didn't give her my cell phone number. They just gave her my name and who I worked for. So she Googled me and put her information in, and in the that text message you saw where there could have been additional information, it said like, hi, we live here, we're looking for an agent. So you can see it's always going to be categorized by Leads Engine. So that's how you know that it came from, an inquiry on your website. So if I wanted to search and only filter by lead engine, lead sources, leads engine, I could search right there like that. So if you are trying to, get an understanding of like your ROI, things like that, that's there for you. So does anyone have any questions on kind of that process before we move on?
No questions in the chat, Mary.
The one thing I do want to show you guys, I'm going to jump around a tiny bit. I hate to do this, but I want to show you just so everyone knows, if you're on Moxie and you go under your account, so you'll go by your photo or your profile, go to my account, notifications, you want to make sure that alert types, new leads, this is turned on. Otherwise, you won't get a text notification. So for anyone that maybe hasn't played around a ton in MoxiEngage, I would say check this first. You will always get an email notification if your email is synced, but you want to make sure that you have this turned on and that these numbers are correct. If for some reason this number is not correct or is not a mobile number, submit an IT help desk ticket. They can get that updated for you, okay? So that's there for you. And then I'm going to jump back into Engage quickly just to show you as we're talking about leads management. So obviously all your leads aren't going to come from our website direct through Moxie, that perfect little process that I just showed you, right? So a lot of times you get leads from other sources. So how do we manage that within Moxie? And a couple of the ways to do it is the sales flow. So that's a huge portion. And these are different people and different flows. So I have one transaction, I have one active, I have 6 prospects, I have 2 in a marketing campaign. And these are just some examples. So how do you get people in that sales flow? So if you go to my people, and the easiest way is going to be to use this categorize wizard, right? So right here, you go to categorize wizard. And as you can see, I need to do a little bit better job of categorizing my clients. But right here, you can go client, non-client. So you can click client, qualify this lead, make seller prospect, make buyer prospect. And if I go to qualify, it's going to do past seller, past buyer, and seller, or none of these. And it will get them all classified that way so that you know where you are, what kind of lead they are. Additionally, you have, let me just go back to my people. So I would encourage you guys to do that. The other thing that you can do is to sort by group and create groups. So just because you have someone categorized doesn't necessarily mean like that they're in a group. They would be considered a seller, like right here, or a buyer right here. But any other group that you put them in is self-created. So, but with the exception of these like leads engine where they came from. But I just want to show you here. So this Cassandra Vaughn was a lead. She's a potential seller. Well, she's also a potential buyer, but primarily seller for right now. So you'll see right here, it gives me all these task lists to do. And then as I move forward, I can move her into an active zone. Once we have her property once I have a listing agreement, we can move her into pending. So all of that is going to move them through that sales flow for you. And you'll see you have all the activity. So right here, I've already sent them a listing presentation. I can see how many times it's been viewed. I can see, what information. So right here, I texted her where I was meeting them at that date. And then I have other information there. I also have notes here. So right here, I said referred to by Rob and Lisa Douglas from Impact. So I have all my notes in here. This is me managing this lead. Now you can put as much or as little as you want in here. But the cool thing is if I go back to my dashboard, not only do I see the sales flow here, but if I go to my goal completion, you'll see under this prospects, it's going to show you exactly like how many times people were in process, what transactions. So it's going to go over everything for you like a seller. So they've been in process for 21 days. That's my one, transaction there. So you have all of this, and then it's going to do a forecast for you. So I have a bunch of different actives, prospects closed. Ideally, like Mine is not as updated as it should be, but you'll see this is an active buyer. This is an active prospect. So you can track everything in here in terms of your leads, no matter where they came from. So I would really encourage you, to make the CRM work for you and to make it as seamless as possible. Go in here, use the categorize wizard, get rid of people you don't want, and start keeping track of all of this. And then, like I said, you can filter by anything. So if I want to do everyone that came through Leads Engine, I can just search Leads Engine right here. Lead sources, Leads Engine. Everyone's going to come up that came in that way. If I want to categorize someone, maybe I got leads through an open house. I can add to groups, and I believe I have one. So do you see I have all these groups here? Open house. So you can categorize and keep track of your leads that way. It's all about how you create the system that works for you, right? So what I do and what Isaiah does may look different, but we're both using Moxie to get to that goal and keep track of our conversions, right? The other thing that I want to show you is, we talked about this last week, but if I go into listing announcements, you'll see it has all these stats for you too. So as you're sending out neighborhood news, as you're putting people on drip campaigns, you can monitor what's working and what's not working and do less or more of things like that. Obviously, me sending out just sold isn't working for me, right? Now, granted, I haven't sent out a lot because I do this primarily, but neighborhood news, I have a much better, it's not showing right now. I don't know why it wants to say 0, because that's not true, but these should update to have my open and click rate. Same with campaigns, each individual campaign. So really it's about using a variety of tools within Moxie to track your progress, to see how you're converting these leads, to update everything and see, how long is it taking you to close on a buyer? Maybe it's taking you a long time right now because you're writing 7, 10 offers, right? In some of our markets. Maybe you're closing on a listing, you only have someone, you're getting that appointment, you're getting them into that active phase, getting that listing up, and you're closing on that listing, converting them quicker. So what is working for you? And, this is just one of the tools that we have to monitor it. Does anyone have any questions on anything I went over? I know I jumped around a little bit, but I just kind of wanted to give you guys ideas of what things look like and different ways you can manage your leads within Moxie.
Nothing in the chat, but yeah, like Mary said, if you guys have anything, feel free to put them in. This would be a great time to get questions answered.
All right, well, while you guys are thinking about that, I'm going to pull up this self-assessment. So it's not all about just using Moxie, right? We want to use, that's one tool in our toolbox, but part of what you guys are doing with Mission Possible is learning about different tools, different ways that people work on these various topics, right? So, there might be an agent that pays a lot of money to purchase leads. There might be an agent that does a ton of social media and generates leads there. Everyone is different. So one thing to look at is, a lot of coaches, a lot of people in the industry will say you want to have a lot of lines in the water, right? You can't just rely on your sphere of influence. You can't just rely on referrals from a lender. You can't just rely on people visiting your website. You have to rely on multiple sources. So when you're looking at that, what are you doing? And, it is the middle of the year. We're halfway through. I can't believe that. First day of summer for everyone. So now might be a really good time to kind of evaluate what is your self-assessment of leads management. And I'll have Tony send this out in the recap with the video of today's meeting. And we'll also include it. I think, Kathy, we can include it in the KMH, right? Maybe the PDF of this.
You betcha.
Okay, so it will be in there as well. But so as you can see, there's topic areas, and this is set up based on 6 principles. I'll go over them briefly, and then we'll kind of like work through this. Maybe someone has suggestions, and we can have an open conversation about it. So for lead generation, marketing activities and strategies to get customers from online and offline advertising. So this is the category and the component topic area, and then you're going to circle your ability level according to scale, 5 being very proficient and 1 being you need some help. And then the last part is identify 1 or 2 next action items to move you closer to a world-class leads management system. And then talk about this. Obviously, it says business consultant, but it could be with a colleague, it could be with your coach, it could be with your team leader manager, it could just be you tracking your own stuff, it could be in a mastermind, whatever makes sense for you. So where do you feel like, are you really only generating leads in one area? Then maybe you would be on this like 3 or 2. If you're doing no lead generation, you'd be closer to the 1, but what can you do to move yourself? So that's the first one. The second one is capture and assign leads. So systems for identifying customers, customer sources, and who is servicing the customer need. So this is, again, like when we talked about Moxie. Moxie is a great tool to use to identify the customer. Also, if you are old school and you want to keep a spreadsheet, I keep a spreadsheet of every referral I've ever gotten. I have in my own inbox, I have like a category of referrals and everything like that. So if it came from other agents, I have the customer's first and last name. Are they a buyer? What, I have them labeled by agent, by brokerage, whatever the case may be. So it doesn't all have to be within Moxie, but that's an example there. Lead ranking. So developing a scoring system to rank customer needs and urgencies based on feedback. So again, that's where there's categories within Moxie. Are they a prospect or are they active? So like for a buyer, someone that's still working on a pre-approval is going to be a prospect. Someone that you're actively showing homes to is going to move into that active phase and then eventually that pending phase. Or, I have agents that will put people in classes of like on a scale of 1 to 5 on an ABCD, like what category are they in? Where are they right now? Are they someone that needs to do credit repair? So it's going to be 6 months or a year before they're able to purchase in their price point. Are they someone that you met with and you did a CMA, but if they put 20 grand into their house, you're going to be able to sell it for a lot more, so you can come up with these own categories yourself and manage them within Moxie or another system or on your own. But that's a big part of it too, is you need to rank them, because obviously part of our business is prioritizing people. Everyone can't be, you want everyone to feel like they're number one, but realistically, you're going to spend more time with someone who's going to close sooner, right? And invest more resources in that. And maybe you put someone on a 6-month drip campaign if they're just casually looking, right? And then incubation. Managing customer relationships through touch points, messages, services based on profiles and ranking systems. So again, it all kind of feeds together. How are you incubating your lead? Are you sending them a text once a month? Are you sending them a text once a week? Are you dripping on them from a campaign in Moxie? Do you have them set up on neighborhood news? All of these different resources are ways of incubating them. Are you inviting them to a client appreciation event or a first-time home buyer course? I just talked to an agent today. I don't know if Kayla's on this call, but she is doing a first-time home buyer course with a local lender, and she was she was working with me to create her e-blast within Moxie to send that e-blast out to everyone. She's also obviously doing print marketing, social media marketing for it too. But there's a million different ways to touch point and incubate that lead. And then again, how are you moving that needle forward? How are they going from a prospect to an active buyer, or a prospect, a prospective listing to you're closing on that listing appointment? And then performance goals, ratios, benchmarks, and coaching opportunities. So again, this looks different for everyone. Do you have a goal of selling to a certain number of, getting a certain number of personal referrals and closing a certain number of those referrals? Do you have a goal to make sure that, you're adding so many people to your database and converting those leads? So or are there different benchmarks? Maybe you want your price point to go up, right? Maybe you're working with, my market's a lot different than some of yours, but like our average price point is 370 something maybe right now, I want to say off the top of my head, between 353 and 372 in my market. Maybe I want to move that price point up, right? So I have 2 listings coming up. One of my goals for this year personally was to get some of those higher end listings. So I have one coming up that's at 579. I have one coming up that's at 500, right? So those types of things, like what are your goals and how can you use lead management to achieve those goals? And then customer loyalty. This is huge, I think, for everyone. And sometimes it's the thing we forget about. is building a book of business and customer loyalty through long-term relationships, repeat business, and referrals. So how do we do that, and how do we track that? So easy touches, neighborhood news, setting them up on a happy birthday in the happy birthday or happy home anniversary campaign within Moxie. I put an activity on my calendar in Moxie every month, send birthday and home anniversary cards. And I do that for the month, and I do a gift for their home anniversary, right? And I do something simple for everyone, and I do it throughout the month. You know, I'm not going to do it on their exact date, right? Probably no, I mean, good for you if you have time to do that, but you know, right? Like, so what are you doing and how are you building that? But we have a lot of easy touches. Preferred Client Club is another great one. So if you're not familiar with In21 Online, you can sign your clients up for Preferred Client Club. They get a magazine as well as a couple postcards a year. And it's like $43 for 5 years. So literally it's so little money. It's all personalized. It goes directly to them. And it's just an easy touch. So we have a lot of different things there. So I would encourage you guys to take a look at this and kind of rank yourselves. Does anyone want to share on an area where they feel like they're strong, or an area they feel like they could improve? Or any goals that you guys are working on if you're looking at this, like, you know, maybe I'm really good at generating, but I'm not so good at like the incubating or keeping in touch. Or maybe I'm really good at assigning a system, but I'm not so good at, you know, post-close stuff. So does anyone have any thoughts, ideas? I know someone must have something to say. I just talked at you for literally 27 minutes.
I mean,
I don't mean to laugh, but we're getting there, because for us, it's so new that we play around in bits and pieces of it, but it's like in California, we haven't really got into the meats of it yet. So these calls are really helping us learn what we need to work on so we can best share best practices. I don't know that most of us have gotten there yet. Just my 2
For
cents.
sure. No, and I appreciate that, Doreen. And that's good for us to know too, just as we're doing some of more of this Mission Possible stuff. And Josh, you mentioned, can I talk more about drip campaigns? Absolutely. Does anyone mind? We did go over this last week, but if everyone's okay with it, I can jump in and kind of show you guys just a brief overview again. Is that okay? Or do you want Josh to just stay on the call afterwards? Thoughts, ideas?
You can go over drip campaigns again.
Okay, perfect. I got 2 people that want it, so we'll do that.
Absolutely,
Much needed.
Mary, because that's what my one-on-one with Wendy was going to be about. Like I had said, I thought last week's class was canceled, and I caught the end of it and watched the recording. So it's about campaigns. Some things have changed, and I thought maybe like some of my people that I had in the holiday campaign from 22 to 2023 would automatically migrate into a new holiday campaign. That has not seemed to happen.
So that didn't happen because it should have.
No, my participants are not in the new
Okay.
campaign, and that's why I wanted to get some time with you or Wendy, you know, later on or down the road.
Yeah,
And just
absolutely.
go
And we
over
can take a
things.
look at that, you know, one-on-one, Wayne. But what I will do is I will just dive into campaigns really quick. So for anyone that was not on the call last week or just wants a refresher, if you're in Moxie, I'm going to actually go to my, oh, it does this where I click and it goes to present when I don't want to. Sorry, my mouse is finicky. Give me 1 second. So right here, I'm going to go to my account to get to my main page, and just to not confuse you, I'm going to get out of all this other stuff. So right here, if you want to get into Engage, Engage is going to be the CRM. That's going to be where all your campaigns are housed. And you guys, it's following you, right, Isaiah, where it's going to my page as I go through?
Yep.
Okay, sometimes it gets
we're
a
on your
little
dashboard
weird.
now.
Cool.
Yeah.
So from your dashboard, you can go into campaigns. So you'll see campaigns. You have my campaigns, e-blasts, neighborhood news, listing announcements, and emails. So the majority of your campaigns are going to be in this My Campaigns category. So if you go to Add from Library, you'll see right here, we have a bunch of other campaigns. So let's just say I will do this FSBO campaign. maybe I met with a FSBO or two and I want to add them to this campaign. So I'm going to go add to campaign. And that's going to put it into my awaiting setup. But before I do that,
And they
if you
can
want to,
preview it too.
yep, that's what I was
Okay.
just going to do. I got ahead of myself. Thanks, Isaiah. Always has my
You're right.
back. So here, if you're under preview, this is an easy 70-day campaign. So it's not a super long one. You're going to see here, it's going to talk about, you know, setting the right price. And you can scroll this way. You can also click there. What a real estate professional can do to you, max home exposure, helping people feel comfortable, navigate all of that. So say I like this one, I already added it to my campaigns, but you can also add it here. So if you're in that preview screen, you can add it here. And you can also add it from there. So right here, you'll see FSBO campaign copy 1. And I'm going to click on this, just the name of it. And you'll see right here, we have the campaign schedule. So if you wanted to make a change, it is all editable. So you can edit the schedule. Let's say you don't do a lot of staging in your market, right? So maybe you don't want to send that out, or maybe you want the staging to be maybe near that marketing and networking. You don't love this order, right? So you can remove it. You can change it. So here has all the different ones, all these different emails in here. So if I wanted to remove that, I can remove. So then you're going to go 0 to 28. So I just removed a huge portion of that, and it was from 0 to 14. So maybe I want to do 14, 28, 42, 56, right? So that's days from the start. And I'm going to hit save. You can also add in additional emails. So now I removed that one email, right? But maybe I want to add it in. I'm going to go, these are not in a good order. I might not be able to find it again. It should be in here somewhere. Here we go. Okay, so staging your home. Now maybe I want to add it at the end, and I'm going to do 70. So that's the order I want it in. Again, save. You're good there. You have an option to set it up right now. So you can set up in this same window. You can hit setup under recipients, and you can add recipients. You can add people. So I could type in a name, like myself, for example, and add myself. I could also add by group. So if I want to go into current leads and add there, I can add current leads. So you have those options as well. And then the other way that you can add people, which honestly is my preferred way, is once this is in your campaign, you can go to my people. And I'm going to select myself here. I can add to campaigns and select any campaign I want. So that's how I typically would work, is I would go into campaigns, I would add it from my library, get it set up the way I want, name it whatever I want, and then go in and mass add people from this My People screen. But
That makes
again,
more sense.
you don't have to do
Yeah.
it that way. You can do it in here. I just think it's easier and quicker. And then you're not always going back in here, right? So let's say I had Isaiah set up on it, but then I want to add Doreen. I can just do it from My People, and it's an ongoing working list. And then within campaigns as well, you do have eBlasts, which Kayla and I worked on a little bit today. We had some IT challenges, but we got it done, hopefully.
No, I am still, it's not letting me add a photo to it now. It's not, it's a mess right now.
Okay, well, we'll connect on that. I don't want it to be a mess for you, but e-blasts are individual blasts you can send out that are editable. So like a custom newsletter, an event thing, something like that for that example. Neighborhood news, just quickly, it's one of my favorite. It's not technically a campaign, but in my opinion, it is. You can add people to that. So you can just click here, go to add to neighborhood news quick, put in a zip code. And hit done, or you can do a custom neighborhood news where you're doing like a custom search over various areas, not just one zip code. So that's another one I like a lot. And then within campaigns, you also have listing announcements. So you can set people up on listing announcements, just listed, just sold. And if you go back to my people again, this is really what I use to add anyone to anything throughout my database. And again, you can search by group. So again, I'm just going to use this example because we're talking about leads. If I do leads engine, lead sources, lead engine, it's going to give me that. So that's categorized. If I want to search only by buyers, right? If I want to do buyers, let's see, it's going to be a little slow. It's thinking. It's going to pull up all these buyers, right? And I could select all, and maybe I want to add them to a specific campaign, or I want to add them to my listing announcements to make sure they know what listings I have coming up. So you can go ahead, or groups even, oh, sorry, not groups, campaigns even. So you could go here. I could add them to like buyer warm prospect, for example. And you would just select them, add them there, hit done. And so this is really where I work from primarily. But in order to create the campaign, you have to go into campaigns, add it from your library, and then it will appear on that My People page. And then your emails, the other thing is under emails, it wants to load. It has all the individual emails. So let's say you send out this home care advice campaign to like past sellers all the time, but maybe there's a great tip for, let's see what's in July. Want to show me? Yeah, maybe there's a great tip for July about home care that you really want to make sure you send out to everyone. You can just go ahead and send that individual email out. You also can send a test too. So if you wanted to, instead of doing a whole campaign, you can send individual emails out through the emails. And that's also where these e-blasts appear, or should appear if it's functioning correctly. Or, and then in terms of like preferred campaigns, I will say easy touches. I'll always do neighborhood news, holidays, home anniversaries, birthdays. You have to have the data in there for it to work though. So if you want to send someone their happy birthday, you have to have the actual birthday in their profile within Moxie. But there are some great other ones like this FSBO campaign. It's a pretty easy one. I mean, you're going to laugh when I tell you this. I have a lot of people in my sphere sent out our holiday campaign, and on Father's Day, I called my dad and he goes, "Oh, you're calling me too? I just got your email campaign, your company Father's Day email." And he's so old school. He even replied thanking me as if I individually sent it to him. No, Dad, that went out to 100 people, but I'm glad you think I'm so nice. So, I mean, that's the thing is like a lot of these are easy touches. And once it's set up, it's set it and forget it. Like the people that I have on neighborhood news, I'm only going to change it if they change where they live or where they're looking to buy a house, right? Otherwise, they could be in there for 5 years. Hopefully they want to move within 5 years though. So any questions on anything I went over? I will tell you, just if you guys want refreshers on some of this stuff, we do have all of the Mission Possibles in the Knowledge Management Hub. So we have been recording them and doing a Q&A and dropping in other information in there as well. So if you guys need a refresher on anything we've covered in the last couple of weeks, I would encourage you to go there. All right, Devin, where do we find how to get more campaign templates? So if you're in campaigns, you're going to go to add from library, and these are all of ours that are here. So there's not like a million of them, but I would say, what do we think? 50 maybe in here. If you want to create your own, that is an option as well. If you're looking to create a custom one, I would recommend you just do, I would recommend that you guys do that, schedule a one-on-one with us so we can walk you through the steps, because it's not super, once you do it once, it's easy to do, but the first setup of doing something custom. And then, yeah, so that would be, Josh, to answer your question, is there a way to send out a newsletter? So a couple ones that are in here that are newsletter-like are going to be, well, if you do Find Home and Estates, we do have the Find Home and Estates e-newsletter that's in here. If you want to do more newsletter like, these home care tips are monthly, and I actually like them. It's kind of in a newsletter format, so that's one you could do. So those are already built in. If you wanted to create, let me see, I think there's one more in here too. Actually, there's not. If you wanted to create your own custom newsletter, you could do that in the form of an e-blast or in a custom campaign. So we can work with you on that. And then, Isaiah, do we have any newsletter options in Studio A while we're talking about this?
Yeah, we do. We have a couple of static image ones that aren't, like, I would say, engaging with compared to like a MoxiEngage newsletter, because when you do like the static images, you can upload it into the body of your email, and they have like newsletter templates. They have other like event templates like that. So you could do something like that. There's also something that's still in beta. It's an HTML newsletter, and basically kind of what we'd see on MoxiEngage. Every little aspect of it's clickable. If they see your phone number, they see your email address, say they're on the go, they're on mobile, they can like click on that from their phone and then call you or send you an email directly from there. So the HTML newsletters, though, are only working right now with MailChimp and Constant Contact. They wouldn't be able to be built into Engage.
Yeah, and the other thing too, guys, is you can, if you guys are interested in newsletters or anything like that, I think I'll probably add that to something that we'll try and do a training on, in maybe a smaller group training, or it's something you can reach out to L&D directly and we can go over your options. You do also have the option of doing kind of a newsletter within Present. As well, that's a direct link that you could just then email out through Engage. So we have a bunch of different options. Either we can try and work that into another Mission Possible session, or we'll try and do something in the next couple months where we can do that. But if you're looking for something like immediate, definitely reach out to us, schedule a one-on-one, and we can get that there. Yep, and then Isaiah just said you can use the design templates within Studio A and download or up those into Engage campaigns. And you can also do the same thing, I believe, within Present too, right? As long as they're in the PDF format.
Yeah, Present needs to be a PDF, but for Engage, for example, Mark from our UCLJ office wanted to do an announcement email to everyone. And so he created a custom drip campaign, or not drip campaign, an e-blast. He did a regular e-blast. And then what I told him was that we can create something in Studio A, because there's a bunch of templates that say, I've now partnered with Affiliated, the #1 C21. Like there's all kinds of templates, like branded templates like that. And so what we did was I was able to put it into the body of his email, and he just sent that out because it was already designed and branded for him. So yeah, that's a way that you could take things. Yeah.
I'll show you guys. Let me see if I can in my emails. I don't know if I have this. Let me go back because I might have. I did one for an agent as like a new agent one that was done in an e-blast. So the easiest way, I'll open this e-blast for you guys so you can see. This is what Isaiah is talking about. So you can drag in your own images, you can create your own text, you can move things around. So that's where we would be able to pull in some of the content if you're not super creative, like myself, where you like a lot of the pre-done content, or you want to make sure it's compliant. We can pull in that from Studio A. So absolutely, it's something we can help you with. So those types of things are really hard to teach in this big of a class, unfortunately. So I would say that, like, if you guys are interested in any of that, reach out to us, Isaiah, myself, Hannah. We can get on a one-on-one with you and we can walk through, especially if you have an individual need, like a specific event or something like that. It's usually easier to work through it with us one-on-one. Any other questions, thoughts?
Nothing else in the chat, but let's see if anyone's typing anything up.
Well, I hope this was helpful. We will share out the self-assessment lead management handout that I went over in the recap. It'll also be in the KMH. And if you guys are looking for these sessions in the KMH, I would just go to catalog, go under categories and do Mission Possible, and you're going to have everything in there. And then you guys know where to reach us, learning.development@c21affiliated.co. Or just schedule a one-on-one. So we really appreciate everyone joining us. It's nice to see a bunch of friendly faces, and have a great rest of your week.
Thank you, Mary.
Bye, everyone. Thanks, Mary.
Thanks, bye.